It's been a while since I've been on here, but it's always the busy bee. I see the last video I recorded was 4 weeks ago, so and I guess I come on here to try to pretty much, let the stuff that I post on here give people time to marinate, to think about what's being said, and let the seeds that's planted bloom. So that's why I decided to yell a bit each time I post a video. And there's just a whole lot of revelation I wish to share. And just come on here and probably do back to back, one video after another. Anywho, without, you know, trying to be rude or anything, as far as like to start out by greeting. So, what's going on, YouTube family, fellow Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters, PayPal employees, the creators of YouTube and several other things, and visitors that just stop by to check out the channel, just say, hey, let's see what this TL1020 got about. I've been hearing from other YouTube people in the community about him, so check out his channel to see what he's speaking about. If it's anything interesting or not. But anywho, basically, just want to do like update, just as well as comment about the Connecticut incident, the tragedy that happened. And it's Matthew 24:12. It said the love of most, because of increase in wickedness, the love of most should grow cold. And Second Timothy or First Timothy, when it talks about the rebellion of the youth, it said the youth should be lawless and rebellious towards their parents, disobeying the elders, etc. The list goes on, being lovers of themselves, etc. So it's a lot of scriptures that validate the events that's going on today, the reason the chaos is happening. And remember, I said it's going to be more. After Trayvon, people, oh, Trayvon, it was so horrible, which it was. It was an injustice, but there's several other injustices that is taking place in this country that the news is not covering. Because, like I said, so much going on, they have to pick and choose which one is more important, which one is more vital to put out on the news versus, stuff that might be looked at as minor. So that, yeah, I mean, sad, just like, but, you see ever since they took prayer out of school, look at the outcome. They took prayer out of school, so go figure, right? You know, Satan walk in and have a ball. But that also is something I want to, bring up the point about that as far as with Satan. It's just like in the scripture it says God is not a respecter of persons, well neither is the devil. You know, it don't matter of course who you are, color, ethnic group, ethnic background, whatever. Satan has a ball with whomever. So like the Father's not a respecter, neither is the devil. So whether it's a child, whether it's an Asian, whether it's whoever, Satan gonna manipulate and cause whatever chaos that is allowed to cause. And it's starting with the youth. So this the events that's taking place, only points out the importance of ministering to people or administering. And some people think ministering is giving a sermon. It's not giving a sermon to administer or minister. The minister to people is giving advice. People don't realize when you give advice to a person, that is a form of ministering to that person. Because ministering always involves helping people. Humanitarian aid, that's a form of ministry. I mean, it's different forms of ministering that don't involve being in a suit and tie behind a pulpit or behind a podium reading the scripture. That was the reason that Christ kneeled down to the disciples and washed their feet, because he was showing a form of ministry or administry. So this is the importance. This is why me coming on YouTube or using YouTube as a tool to reach out to people, to enlighten people, not to be some sort. I mean, it is an activist for righteousness, an activist for God, but not an activist for politics. Because I know politics is pretty much the streets, pretty much. Just, Republicans and Democrats like Bloods and Crips, red and blue. So, and as you can see in the government, that's what it seemed like. They kind of fighting like this our territory, so hey. But this is the importance. This is why I try to reach out to people whenever I have an opportunity to share knowledge or wisdom, to share things that help me out in life, to help me develop to where I am spiritually, as far as in character, because that's what it's all about. Character plays a major, major role in our everyday lives. And when you have a uplifting or inspiring character, you are a light before the world. That's why call label my channel the light of the world. Because that's every time I speak or come on here to do a segment, I try to bring light. I try to inspire people where when this video goes off, people have a peace of mind to try to prevent psychopaths or try to say something to, you know, help out a person who may be thinking nobody understands me. Nobody sees my views. Nobody, you know, cares for me. Because those are the people that neglect. I mean, those are the people that feel neglected and go out in society and feel like nobody care about them, that will put a bullet in somebody with no remorse. That will shoot a child with no remorse. If you feel rejected or neglected in society, those are the people who can be possible psychopaths or possibly go postal, because feeling neglected is feeling as if nobody cares for them. Not everybody is able to take peer pressure. Not everybody is trained to take peer pressure. So because not everybody being trained, that leads to mass killings such as that. That leads to that because a child coming up in school or a teenager not receiving advice from a positive mentor to guide and lead them in the right direction, to train them how to deal with this battlefield, this arena that we in, like gladiators, trying to survive in an arena of the devil. And you don't know what's going to come at you, when you're in the arena. So by them not having that training, some kids don't know how to control their anger. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to do reverse psychology. They don't know how to play the game. How can I reverse this to where I can get under their skin or prove them wrong or show them that I'm not the person that they're trying to label me? How can I reverse this? Instead of letting it boil on the inside and feeling like nobody cares about me, nobody is concerned about my being or who I am, nobody, acts like I exist, and you got this, evil on the inside starting to conspire, and they act off of it, and Satan triggers them to go postal and just take people out on a mass scale. Because the reason it be a mass killing, the reason people kill on that level is it's their level of anger. It's like trying to take out as many people as they can. Like they're so angry, they're just killing everybody in sight. It's like throwing a fit. It's like somebody up in their room and they destroying everything in sight. They angry, they throw a fit, so they take a lamp, throw it, take a book, take whatever they see and just throw it or destroy it. Well, it's the same way with a mass killing. Instead of slinging and throwing objects everywhere on the ground, it's shooting everybody they see in sight and laying them on the ground. And then once they, calm down and just, be back sober, then it's more like, oh no, what have I done? I didn't mean to let it get this far. So that's why we got to be careful when we get angry, because anger can lead to possession. If you get angry enough, Satan is going to add more coals to that fire. Demons are going to add more coals to that fire, because they look at that as an opportunity to manipulate and control you. So they see you already angry, so then they're gonna put ideas and options in your head on how to come up with a resolution to your anger. Instead of positive resolutions, is negative. So here you are, you upset, like, man, I hate this person. A kid, man, I hate this person. These people, they constantly picking on me. I can't stand they constantly picking on me. So every day they go from school, they getting picked on, get messed with. So they might sit in their room. Mom and dad probably too busy to see what's going on. I'm sure they obviously showing the signs there's something wrong. But instead of mom and dad coming in and saying, hey, what's wrong? I see something bothering you. I can see it in your eyes. I can see how you respond. And it's, I ain't got time on mom, dad. I ain't on mom end. I ain't got time on daddy. So by dad not hardly having time, mom not having time, they in here trying to deal with their own problems, but yet too immature to be able to deal with their own problems. Trying to come up with a good solution and immature, inexperienced. Don't have the wisdom or the knowledge of dad or mom that's been around a lot longer than them and had way more battles than them, dealt with way more people than they have. So by not having experience and trying to come up with their own conclusion on how best to fix this problem, more than likely somebody around that age, or like I said, haven't had that training or haven't been around a positive mentor, is going to come up with something that's sadistic. And it's going to lead to, like what happened in Connecticut, Virginia Tech, Maryland, Ohio, Alabama, and the list goes on and on. So, people, now you see why it's important to promote positive. Now you see why it's important to try to connect to people, to talk to people, because a lot of people in this world just need to be talked to. A lot of people want to feel appreciated. There's been so many times where I would go to a store, or I just be at a place and a person or people are just, well, yeah, a person at random just come up to me and just start talking. And it's like they talk to me as if they knew me for years. Talk to me as if they knew me for years, and end up, basically pouring out a life story, like an autobiography of who they are, where they've been through, where they've been, where they trying to go. And I'm like, why are they, sharing this with me? Not, don't mind, but it's like, what will make them come up and just pull out their life like that? Or, what will make them share? So I looked at it as maybe God leading them to me, knowing that I can give them positive advice. Or some people don't want advice. They just want somebody to listen to them. And some people have the comfort of knowing that somebody's listening. And it's been times where people came up to me and started talking. I tried to share advice, and they were like, no, just hear me out. Just hear me out. Just listen to me. So I just sit there and listen. And after they say what they have to say, it's like they feel relieved that somebody done heard me. Somebody listened to me. Not even wanting advice, but just having a comfort of a listening ear. And a listening ear is an attentive ear, and an attentive ear can sometimes be a caring ear. Because our ears can be attentive to learning and also be attentive to caring about somebody's, you know, issues or their concerns. So just, thought I'd, share positive advice from the heart, trying to reach out to America and people all over the world. It's like, hey, if you want stuff like what happened in Connecticut to be prevented, I mean, it may not be completely, abolished, because some people, if it's so deeply rooted, if it's too late, where they've been going through it for so long. It's like once a person becomes stagnant and their hearts become hardened, it becomes become a little bit impossible to reach out to a person because it's like too late. But when it's starting to escalate, when it's starting to build up, then you can possibly reach out to that person on the front end before it gets too deep or it gets too strong or their heart gets too frozen over. So while it's starting to develop frost, that's when we should pretty much jump on it. When we see in frost, like, okay, they started trying to freeze over. They're trying to turn cold. Let me hurry up and de-thaw it before they do something silly and end up regretting it later on. So, I mean, but basically, it's prophecy, folks. It's prophecy. I mean, there's going to be more to come. It's going to be more incidents and tragedies. And basically, God is just sending a message showing people the importance of righteousness, the importance of integrity, the importance of having a good heart and caring, trying to reach out to others. So that's why Christ always ministered to people who was considered neglected by society. If you read in the book in the Bible, you see all the people he reached out to weren't considered people of high standards, but those people who was considered average Joe, and people on the side of the road that was sick and crippled that apparently society was neglecting. That society probably weren't trying to help them out because instead of them Jesus coming to them and they're alone in their sickness or they're alone in their disability, he would have came to them where they surrounded by people or different people coming up to them helping him and he coming up. But he always approached them apparently when nobody was trying to help him. Nobody was, interested in him because, back then if you had a sickness or disease, they considered you cursed. And I remember one of the disciples asked Christ, what, teacher or rabbi, what sins or what sins has his parents committed, the reason he in his condition? And Christ was like, it's not because of his parents' sins he in this condition, but he in this condition for the glory of God. So it's not because of his parents' sin, because in the Old Testament, sometimes God will curse people by putting a curse on their children, like he did with Solomon. He ended up cursing Solomon by not only tearing the kingdom away from Solomon, where he had enemies come against him and he got killed, but it was also a curse put on his son. So sometimes God did it that way. And a lot of times I'm glad they got brought up because, when people's children are a reflection of themselves. So by people's children be a reflection of themselves, sometimes, those kids that come out like Chucky, I guess, is how you were in your youth. And God basically trying to show you or give you a reflection of how you were through your child or through our children. Give us a reflection like this is who you were. This is how you acted. So you seeing a replay of yourself through your child from your youth to your teenage years to your adulthood. And you seeing yourself like, I used to do that. They doing the same stuff I do, like, rip around the streets, if you club pop, smoke marijuana or something like that. And he's showing you a mirror reflection. And sometimes those type of children be a punishment to the individual. It's like, okay, you didn't want to listen to anybody to give you advice or show you a reflection of yourself to try to straighten you up. So another way I show you a reflection of yourself is through your children. So you end up having a child that's reflecting your lifestyle, your youth, teenage, and adulthood. And then some parents end up getting blessed with obedient children that don't have to tell them much in order for them to straight up. But every child gonna get involved in something wrong that they ain't supposed to do because they get fun out of it. So if it's fun to them, but it's something that can possibly hurt them, Of course, parents say, no, okay, daddy, okay, mama, and act like they got a halo over their head. And soon mom and dad ain't around, not looking, get right back into it. Yay, it's party time. I enjoy this. And not realizing it'll hurt them in the long run. But other than that, folks, like I said, just keeping an update. I'm sure some of y'all probably was waiting for this, like, okay, what are you gonna say on this Connecticut thing? Is this of God? Is this some satanic? Or is this just somebody just got out of hand? What about this? Mainly, like this prophecy. It means no different than Hurricane Sandy. It's no different than Katrina. It's no different than earthquakes in Maryland or East Coast earthquakes, tsunami, etc. It's prophecy. And he just sending a message letting people know that starting to get fed up with the sin. So it is, hey, like I said, it's prophecy. That's why, in the meantime, enjoy life. I mean, as far as trying to come up with solutions, how to prevent this, I mean, now with people's choices and decisions, we can, be a influence in people's choices and decisions. If more people participate, but you got a lot of people got this mentality you can't worry about everybody else mentality. You can't worry about everybody else. Just focus on you. No, because by having that mentality, that's what end up being an outcome in Connecticut. Just the results. The results of having that you can't worry about people mentality is what happened in Connecticut. If you only focus on long as I'm okay, long as I'm together, then forget everybody else. I ain't studying what everybody else doing. And by having that mentality, leads to people mass killings and just killing people without remorse because it's feeling like nobody cares. So like I said, sometimes a listening ear, people feel appreciated to have the comfort to know that you're listening. And not just sitting there acting like you listening, but responding to something they said. Because they going to give you a window for you to say something or comment. Then you comment on something or elaborate on something they said, and then they're like, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because this might add more. But by you coming or elaborating, it lets them know that you are listening and walk away and feel great that somebody listened to me, somebody heard, So that's why, well, yeah, I said that's why Christ, when he went to synagogues, he just sat down and listened. Or when he went and he visited different people's homes and met people on the side of the road. I'm sure he had conversations with them and talked with them. So it's pretty much it, folks. I just wanted to elaborate on it. It's been a while, and just mainly just keep the faith, just stay positive, and whenever you got an opportunity to share advice or help somebody, help. Now I know some people may be like, oh well, that's with the pastors and missionaries, but we can all be missionaries in our own way. I mean, some people might, like, let's say somebody come on my channel, somebody refer me and say, hey, check out TLT 1020. He good guy, he share a positive story, he might help you out. Well, they might receive it, but might receive it better from you because your attitude reflects theirs a lot better. So some people receive knowledge and wisdom from people who they can vibe better with, as far as they feel like their mentality is more equal to this individual versus somebody that might be more advanced or might be on a different level than they are. So by them receiving this from somebody on the same level, who they feel on the same level as them in their understanding, then they might receive it a little better. So instead of, well, he can show you, and all along they probably looking at you because they feel like, well, you referring me to this person. Well, what did you learn from it? Or what did you get out of it? Not just from me, but from wherever there's positive influence. Well, what did you learn? Well, man, basically they talking about this and this, that, and explain to them where they coming from and how they coming from. They receiving it better because they your friend or they vibe with you a lot better than anybody else. So But looking at the time here, and yeah, I'm gonna cut off. I have so much information to share, and when it's been a while since I recorded, y'all see I try to get out everything I've been meditating on and everything I've been wanting to speak about, try to get it all out in one blow. So in the meantime, this prophecy, I won't worry getting upset. No, no, what am I do? No, like you said, live every day as if your last. So enjoy life, continue to enjoy life, because He got plagues in His country. That don't mean blessings stopped in His country. He's still blessing. Miracles are still being worked, and happiness is still present here. So it's not like it's completely removed. So that's why I say enjoy every moment, every good moment, and make the best of every good opportunity. Because joy and happiness is still here in this country. It's not completely removed. And the last little theme I leave is this: is it's just like with Moses in Egypt. Even though the society of Egypt was in had dire circumstances, Moses throw that dry, I guess. I'm talking to me. But Moses, when he was up in his house with the blood of the lamb on the door, Moses wasn't concerned about the circumstances of Egypt because he was blessed by the blood of the lamb. So even though it was, trying times in Egypt and difficult times in Egypt, when a plague of the firstborn hit and different and other plagues that was hitting Egypt, the people of Israel were still blessed. All those that followed Moses were still blessed. They was taken care of. Diseases didn't hit them. The firstborn plague didn't hit them because they was protected by God. Even though living in a land that was Eli turns out, even though living in a land of bad conditions, they were still receiving blessings in a land with bad conditions because being taken care of and being protected by God. So my advice is to those of you who believe and got Christ in your life is no matter the conditions of this country, we still being taken care of. I mean, God still take care of those He loves. So you still having food to eat, still having a place to lay your head and able to pay utilities, etc. Apparently, He's still taking care of you. Even if you gotta had to relocate to a lower paying job and you're not making as much money as you used to. I mean, apparently He put you there for a reason. He's still taking care of you. Well, you're not completely down and out or it's a complete plane crash. And for some of you that feel like you completely down and out, I mean, it's only for a season. Sometimes God put us in certain circumstances to see how we gonna respond, to test our faith, to see if we really as strong as we say we are, to see if we really love Him like we claim we do. And the best test to prove your love with anybody is when times are bad. That's in a marriage and a friendship or whatever. When one is going through hardships or both going through hardships, can you still have that same friendship? Can you still have that same love in a marriage and commitment? And can you still have that same commitment and faith and love with God when going through bad times? So other than that, as always, try to inspire. And like I said, just stay positive, enjoy life, and quit worried about the current events that pop up on the news, because the things that's gonna happen regardless. So I'd rather die happy than die in fear and die in worry, because that's a miserable way to die. So if I go out, at least let me go out while I'm enjoying myself instead of me dying in a corner and oh no, biting my fingernails and what's gonna happen next. Live every day like it's your last, and hopefully you don't live your last day in fear. If it's this year, if it's next 5, however Heavenly Father plans it for it to happen, or next 15 and 20, who knows? But the way it's looking, I doubt that one. But anywho, as always, peace be unto you all in Christ for life.